Advisory Board meeting. The first item on our agenda is approval of the May minutes, but I don't know that we had those sent out in advance. So we will kick that to the next meeting and make sure we have the minutes sent out and we can review them and give proper approval to those. So with that, we will move on into old business, and I'll turn it over to Aaron, who's filling in for Terry today, to provide some updates.
Great. Per your agenda, you'll see closure, reopen. I'm going to talk about that in the review and staff report. And then also summer camp. I'll also give you more information on that when I speak later in the meeting here. Community Center Phase 1, reopening. We opened on Monday. Everything has been going really smooth. We've not experienced complaints, believe it or not, with all the changes that we've done. I think everyone, for the most part, is understanding in what we need to do so that we could open so far. So I'll give you some numbers for the last 4 days. So on Monday the 15th, we saw 65 members. Right now we are open to members only or those that have punch cards or who are military. So on Monday the 15th, we saw 65 members for the full day. We had 3 military and 4 punch cards. On the 15th also, we sold some new memberships in the amount of around $985 for that first day, which was pretty good. People are concerned, and I get it totally. June 16th, Tuesday, we had 49 members. We had 9 military and 3 punch cards. And on the 16th, we brought in $315 in new memberships. June 17th, 51 members, 5 military, 2 punch cards. No new memberships on that day. And then today, I've only got numbers up till noon. But we had, as of noon today, we had 25 members show up, 1 military, 1 punch card. So it's a slow start, but I think the slowness helps staff to get into the routine of what this new normal for us looks like as far as just cleaning. We are cleaning nonstop and sanitizing. We hope that the public recognizes that there's that extra effort that we maybe missed before or whatever. So yeah, so far so good. Staff's doing really good. We did have an all staff as far as fitness and front desk training last week, and so we think they were well prepared and they were all excited. They all said 2 weeks was enough for us to sit at home. We are ready to get back. And so they've been very helpful and just great all around. So that's my community center phase 1 reopening. Again, we're still promoting social distancing, washing your hands. We have hand sanitizer out, cleaning. We are using a product on the machines from 12 to 1 when we shut down to clean. That seems to be quite easy on us to get done in that hour. And so far, so good. Yes, Beth, you got to take your microphone.
Yeah, there one question about that, Aaron, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Is there any cleaning of the weight machines or any other machines that people are on between people?
Yeah. Well, we're insisting that patrons wipe down the machine before and after, and most of them are doing it. We also have the fitness staff in there who's monitoring that and picking up the slack when someone forgets or whatever. But there is a strong effort in making sure the machine's clean between uses.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a general capacity limit that you've set for the facility or for certain spaces?
There's not a capacity for as far as gyms or whatever. We just had to make sure that everything was appropriately spaced. So everything that we have in the facility is spaced body to body at least 6 feet. And then the things that we couldn't move that fall within that range, they've all been put out of order, and they'll be rotated and back into use daily. Anything else? Okay.
Very good. Beth?
I guess I'm also curious, are you guys holding the daycare again now?
Not yet. There's no children in the building, and the seniors aren't open. So it is literally only members using the facility for fitness.
Okay.
Okay. Do we want to move on to the Sandlot?
Might as well, yes.
Okay.
So, Sandlot request, 5-week season. Many of you may or may not have heard the updates with Sandlot. They did cancel their actual season, but we have worked out a plan for them to use the fields for practices and scrimmages. So there's no games or tournaments on our fields, but their teams that will travel are practicing on our space. Been through a lot of addendums with the MOUs. Terry's been on that pretty impressively, trying to make sure that there's space for them and that everything's kind of taken care of and managed under the new guidelines for non-contact sports. So they're only doing a 5-week season. They're starting this week, and they will go through July. I believe it's July 18th is their last day using the fields at West State. Per the MOU, they have some guidelines they still have to follow for cleaning and sanitizing, even though they're just using the fields for practice. I think that's the old news on that old business.
Any questions from the group on Sandlot? All right. We'll shift to new business.
I had a question real quick, Mark. That 5-week season, that was their idea, or is that what they? I didn't know, like, you know, that like, were they working down from a shorter season, or is that what they were able to come up with?
From my understanding, and this is just kind of with talks with Terry and Kevin, once they were given the green light to try to come up with a season, they felt more comfortable shortening their season. So they went with the 5-week option. And then when they felt like it was not possible for them to get their games in per usual, because 5 weeks is so much different than their usual session, they chose that. So that's when they switched to cancel the season, but keep it as practicing and no tournaments.
Gotcha.
On their on the website, one of the things they cite are economic difficulties without doing tournaments, without having concession stands. It just was not going to be economically feasible to have a season when you take into account maintenance costs, referee costs, equipment costs, and then the costs associated with the COVID-19 restrictions. So that was a big part of it too. They've been updating their website on a regular basis, and the last time I looked at it, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 days ago, that information was up there.
Yeah, you're right, Alan. Thank you. That's true.
Yeah, because there are places that are still holding tournaments. You know, one of the things, living as close as we do to the West Virginia border, there's a lot of cross-river traffic when it comes to athletic events. And in different localities, they're taking a different view of this. Case in point, in a neighboring county, The school board has already decided they're going back to school 5 days a week with everybody in session. It varies. And these kids like to participate in tournaments. And if they practice and can get in a tournament and people are comfortable doing it, they can travel to these tournaments. So,
Alan, which neighboring county is that's going back to school?
Not a county. It's a district within the county. It's over in Washington County.
Okay, where they have the most cases of any of our contiguous counties. Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's off the subject of it. But my point in all of that was simply it varies greatly by locale. For example, my wife was in Parkersburg today in Nordstrom's, or not Nordstrom's. They don't have a Nordstrom's there. Talbot's. Not a person in the store, including hired personnel, had a mask on. Nobody. So we live in a little bit of a bubble here. In this case, it's a pretty good bubble to be in. Anyway, that's the deal on the sand lab.
All right. Shifting to new business, we have board members have been reappointed. We have 3 of them: Daniel Brown, Alan Swank, and Travis Gatling. So all of you should have, if you haven't received your letters, we'll be getting them anytime soon. So congratulations.
Really appreciate that $500 check in there. How about that, Travis?
Hey, what?
Actually, it was 7.
Stimulus money.
Just for the record, I nominated all 3 of you to be reconfirmed at City Council.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. How could I not?
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't have my updated address, so I haven't received the letter, but they did contact me and let me know. So.
Very good. Glad to have you all staying on. The department has applied for and was awarded a grant from the Athens Foundation. It was $2,000 for the Emergency Response Fund. They're going to use that for summer camp, the purchase of face coverings for all the campers, and then the primary expense was that, and then for some other COVID-related supplies and equipment. So that's an update from the department as well.
Which they did get the gator masks in today, I believe. So they've got them. They're really cool. The kids are gonna enjoy those over the masks that we all wear. So it's pretty neat.
Definitely. Awesome. All right. Other items. Back to Aaron for department updates.
Okay, so department updates. I'm going to go back and hit on some of the stuff that I pushed to now. So COVID closure list reopen. I'm going to go through just so you guys are all aware of what we have, what is open right now, and what is not currently open or programming, all that. So parks and trails, open. Playgrounds right now, they're closed. The governor did give orders on opening those. We were waiting on guidelines on how often we need to sanitize or how to sanitize and all that. So currently they're closed, but we are waiting on, we did just order some signage today for when we get word from the governor on exactly what he wants us to do. We can put the signs out, have them open, and then all that. So the governor said we could open them. We've checked with the health department. The health department would like us to make sure that we do sanitize once a day. So that will be in the plans. And then if there's anything different from the governor, we will move forward and make sure that we follow his protocol as best as we can, if possible. Likely, yes, it's going to be possible.
Do we have a date on that? Because playgrounds all over Ohio are open.
As soon as we get the signs, then we'll be able to open them. And I will double check on that. I'm certain that it could be as early as Monday, as long as they get the signs. I know that they are ordering around 40 plus signs for all the areas that will be reopening. So hopefully we get those soon. Zones has been really good, and Performance Science has been really good at getting us what we ask for really quick. So yes,
Yeah,
hopefully next week.
because the reason that question came open with Sandlot now using the fields, people look at playgrounds, or all of our outdoor recreation areas as playgrounds as a group. And they're having a difficult time understanding why there can be baseball on a city-owned baseball field, but there can't be basketball on a city-owned basketball court, or climbing on that. So, we are getting those calls and inquiries as to when.
Makes sense. Everybody's itching to get outside and find some space for their kids. We're working on it as quickly as and possible that we can. So tennis and pickleball courts, those are open, and those things are getting used quite a bit. So we're looking at laying out another pickleball court near the hockey rink that's out back as another location per request of some of the users that do pickleball. So those are open. Basketball courts right now are closed. I can tell you that while they're closed, the rims have been repainted already, but now the outside maintenance guys are going to be repainting the lines on the ground and painting the poles and backboards. So when we are able to open, they'll look awesome and feel like a new space for people to use.
Well, again, going back to the governor's orders, those are open in Ohio. I mean, a little frustrating. What have we been doing since March 17th that now, when they're allowed to open, we're actually painting stuff and doing maintenance? And that doesn't make sense. And what I'm doing is echoing what I'm hearing from the public.
Gotcha. I'll make sure, Terry will see this and she'll be able to respond accordingly to that. I'm just trying to fill her shoes, which are very big shoes to fill. So, yes, I understand, Alan. I understand. Sports, adult and youth sports right now, the plan is to reincorporate adult softball in the fall because it's non-contact. As soon as the governor lifts the contact sports, we'll be head on as far as soccer. We've got a couple other programs that I would like to introduce in the fall for youth sports. Just waiting on that. But adult softball, we're planning to offer a fall league. Athletic field use right now is by agreement only for organized youth groups. So like Sandlot, we're having an MOU. We're working with the Athens Middle School to provide space for them to train, because contact sports can only do training right now. We're trying to work through an MOU for training on our fields. Dog parks are open. The skate park's open. Community center right now, like I said, is for members only, but we're hoping to lift that and reincorporate general public before too long. The gym right now is closed. Again, hoping to bring back in basketball and pickleball indoors as early as the beginning of July, if not sooner. Summer camp scheduled to start July 6th. Arts West right now is closed. Programs and classes are expected to resume in the fall, if not before. The Seniors United Senior Center here at the community center is closed right now. Rentals, we're working on rentals, allowing rentals back in as long as they have a smaller group to use the facility. It's difficult with our limited staffing right now to go in and make sure the room is completely sanitized for the next user, and then still having the guidelines of 10 or less in a group or something. So rental services are slowly trickling back in as best we can. Water fountains, restrooms right now are still closed, and shelters are closed. But those are all expected to reopen shortly. So that's COVID closure update as far as park stuff. Personnel, we, as you know, brought back some part-time staff for the reopening. I know fitness staff, I have 4 fitness staff. Front desk, I believe, have 4 front desk workers to cover all the hours that we're open right now. Seasonal maintenance, we did get approval to hire 4 seasonal maintenance positions, which is awesome. Kevin is overjoyed with having that extra help. And then once we know about bathrooms and how often we'll have to clean those, it's likely one of those seasonal people will be bathroom duty on their shifts. So there's that. We also have 2 seasonal positions for uptown and cemeteries that Kevin's, again, very happy to have. What's going on in the parks? You know, they're mowing a lot. Landscaping, the uptown flowers. I know they're working with another group as far as getting those watered. What else? Cemetery, all that. They've also been supporting with our reopening. There's a lot of extra that we needed, a little more muscle to get things moved, and they were very helpful in getting that going. Lots of tree and limb removal, and again, installing the signs throughout our other parks of closures and COVID reminders and all that. Projects, I know Kevin's been working on getting some quotes for pressure washing. No one is doing pressure washing that he could find right now because the spraying or something creates spread. So he's waiting. He's trying to get some quotes on stuff. I know he's talked to some painters about getting some quotes on repainting some shelters, restrooms, all that. I know that you are aware that they purchased a swing set for West State. We're still about 3 or 4 weeks out from getting that, but they're still planning as soon as they get it to install. And program updates. Right now, summer camp, like I said, starting July 6th at a 50% capacity. I believe those weeks are pretty much all full for the rest of the summer. So that's excellent. I know Laura's been working really hard on making sure we get those spots filled up and making sure we're following proper protocol as far as they're going to have to take temperatures. They're going to have to be divided into groups differently. Lots of hand washing, and without having the pool or field trips, she's having to get real creative with things for kids to do all day. Those are my updates. Any questions?
Aaron, you mentioned the seasonal staff hiring. Is the department fully staffed from a full-time perspective, or can you talk
full-time?
Yeah.
As far as full-time goes, I know that Andrew's old position as the assistant director, which we were looking into creating that as a different position as far as including the pool and facilities. That position is still open as far as the full-time side, and I'm not sure what the update on that hiring or interviewing is. I know that they've went through one round of interviewing way back when COVID first hit, so I'm not sure where they're at in the process on that. But that is one full-time position that we're still needing to fill.
Take that a step further. You mentioned Arts West, and there's no activities over there. 2 questions. Is there anything going on over there? And a second, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Emily mentioned today that they're doing a new gallery. It'll be all online, but they're going to bring it in, I believe, next week. She's also working with Laura to help with summer camp as far as activities and arts and all that go.
And the second question involves the musical lending library. Has there been any thought into opening that up with, proper restrictions? It's not that people come there and play, but come pick up an instrument and go. Any thought into reopening that?
Yeah, Emily's been working. It seems like every time I talk to her, she's talking about who she's talked with about the music lending library. I know that she's talked to the health department and seeing how feasibly that is with instruments. There's a certain level of sanitizing that has to take place. Obviously, instrument requires a lot of touching for the most part. So I know that Emily is working really hard on trying to get that going again, because people are asking her about it.
And then any idea generally on the budget impact of some of the COVID-related changes you're having to make? Is that still an unknown?
That is an unknown. I do know that from my understanding is there's some, like, I don't know the word for it, but help as far as the budget for things that we've had to purchase COVID-related. Like if you come in to the community center, you're going to see the front desk now has plexiglass all around it, as well as fitness desk. And so some of those costs, the extra sanitizer, the cleaners that we're purchasing, I do know that there's help coming in from somewhere. Beth might know more about that.
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay.
Apparently, the state of Ohio has received $350 million to be shared among communities all over the state for COVID-related expenditures by municipalities. And so Athens City, as well as Nelsonville City and all the other communities around here, they have to individually apply. But Athens is trying to compile every single nickel and dime that any department has spent to send them $1 grand total, and that's in process. And then we'll just have to wait and see how big of a slice of the overall pie we get. There's no they haven't even given us a range of possibilities. It's just everybody who's going to apply applies, and then they divvy it up.
Yeah. We're tracking everything that we're doing COVID that we have to do per the pandemic. So that way we know, have a in touch base with what we owe or what we have bought.
Thanks. Any other questions? All right. Does anybody have any other topics? That's actually the end of our agenda. Any other discussion items? Seeing shaking heads. Beth?
I have one, and I guess it's a question for Erin principally. Erin, I think maybe you already said this, but I just want to make sure I understand correctly. Okay. Are the parks open except for the playgrounds?
Yes. All the green spaces, people can go out and play Frisbee, catch with their kids, kickball.
Specifically, I like having meetings in Armory Park. Is there any problem with that happening?
As long as you are socially distancing, and you're not in a group larger than 10, there's
usually I'm in a group of 2.
Excellent. Okay. Use that part, girl.
Okay, thank you.
I do have something. I guess it's kind of out of your order, but it'd be good to get your input as we start moving forward. Laura and I have been working on a new idea for a project, and I don't know if any of you have heard of sensory paths or storybook trails. So sensory path is kind of like when you're walking along the sidewalk and there's little feet and they tell you to jump, or you follow a line, or hopscotch or something. So we're looking at maybe incorporating that somewhere around here, around the community center campus. And then the Storybook Trail, we're hoping to partner with the library on, is just like a walk, and you essentially as you're walking, you're coming to pages of a book, and you can read the book and then keep walking. And maybe that page of the book incorporates something with that area, like butterflies, and then a little insert of what butterflies are local or whatever. So if you have any ideas on that or other ideas, I am open to it. We're trying really hard to come up with ways that people can engage our parks, and it doesn't cost them anything, and they're enjoying our space that we're able to give them. So any ideas, email me. I'd be happy to hear them.
What was the first project with the little feet? What was it called?
I think it's called a sensory path is what I would call it. Sometimes people also have like raised planters with different plants in them. Like, you know how some herbs or something you drag your fingers across, it feels real soft, or there's a smell. Or there might be like a sound element in it, like little wind chimes or something. So it's pretty open to a lot of ideas.
Hey, Travis, those feet on the ground. I could just see some illustrated dance steps.
I'm like, can you do that for adults? So.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, you certainly know way more about dance than probably all of us combined. But you could probably work some dance steps in there, but also some letters too, as to how you actually spell that particular dance.
Yeah, I was thinking it'd be great to have that on Court Street.
Ooh, yeah, yes.
Well, the rule would have to be that all the board members will have to participate.
I'm in. I like to see ballroom dancing be brought back. That we've had that before. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron, I would talk to AUBA about that. I know they want people coming out of their houses, and I think the synergy right there would make sense. Especially with Armory Park being right there.
Mm-hmm.
Just giving people reasons to go, whether with their families or just on their own. I think that's a really good idea. So, if I can think of anything to go with that, all I can say is, UBA would probably be able to help you facilitate that in a way and get the word out on it, because I think that's awesome to get people out. So,
I like it. You can also add and make it not so child, but there's also like a fitness element one too that we could incorporate somewhere, where there's like lunges or squats or plank walks or whatever. So we have a lot of space and we have a lot of ground. So it seems like it would be a fun, easy, even volunteer groups could help paint it on the ground or something. So it's exciting.
All right, before we adjourn, I would just also offer, on that note, if there's anything that the board can be doing or providing insight or input on, as there's so many different things changing and things opening, closing. I would just offer, you and Terry, that if there are things, don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we're all happy to provide whatever we can to help the department. So
awesome. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? And I will make the motion to adjourn. And there's a second from Beth. All right. Everybody have a good night.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.